I've loved college football for as long as I can remember. My early years were spent in Southern California in the prime years of USC football. Pete Carroll, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart. My family was all originally from Utah, so my grandpa taught at BYU, and I was kind of taught about the history of BYU. So both my parents grew up BYU fans. My mom always told me stories about how when Steve Young called the house to ask my grandpa about a homework assignment, or my dad was driving his route truck through Provo the night they beat Miami in 1990. My dad also instilled in me that fall didn't only bring changing colors and cooler weather, it brought football season. I remember my first game was at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. At the time, I didn't really understand the significance of the venue that we were attending. I was probably only 5 or 6 years old. I remember we had tickets in the corner of the end zone, and I can distinctly remember seeing the mascot Sparky of Arizona State. After that game, I remember being hooked. I would watch games on TV, sometimes with my dad, sometimes just by myself. And like most young boys, I would get way too emotionally attached to teams I just barely found out existed. One specific game I remember was Ohio State versus Miami in the 2003 National Championship. I was really drawn to Miami's jerseys, and I was pulling hard for them to pull out the win. I know the famous play was the pass interference call in the end zone, but for some reason the play that I remembered was Ohio State intercepting the ball. I think it was in the third quarter, and running it back for a few yards just to have Ohio State strip the ball from the guy and take it back. I was livid. My dad would get understandably irritated with me and my passion. And then in later years, I remember not being able to watch the USC-Texas game for some reason. I had some kind of event, and I insisted that my mom get us some VHS tapes so that we could record the game while I was gone. And I mean, luckily enough, it was one of the best national championships of all time, and I was pulling hard for Texas because I really liked Vince Young, but it's still weird to think back that I was that invested in it that I wanted to record it and go to those lengths. And then one Christmas, my dad got us a GameCube, and it wasn't long before I found the game NCAA Football 2003. And from there, it was pretty much all over. I played that game for hours every day. Still remember the voice of Brad Nessler as my team took the field. And that really opened my eyes to what made college football so fun and so great. At that time, streaming and accessing your favorite teams every week wasn't as easy as it is today. You didn't have nearly the access to all that. And so most of what you got on TV was the national games, the biggest games of the week, and then whatever Sports Center wanted to cover that week. But in this game, we learned the teams, we learned the mascots, the stadiums, the fight songs, all that good stuff. And most of my time was dedicated to running my favorite play with my favorite team, which was BYU, and running the halfback toss to the outside. I just remember that play working for me a lot and scoring a lot of points, and that was a lot of fun. With the popularity of this game, it brought to the forefront conversation of name, image, and likeness of these student athletes, and that was one of the main reasons why this game died in the first place. In 2013, a lawsuit was filed against EA by a former UCLA athlete for them using his image and likeness without compensation. And the lawsuit was settled, and athletes were paid to a certain extent. The real issue arose when EA was willing to strike a deal to pay student athletes in order to produce the game going forward, but the NCAA wouldn't allow it. Instead of going through another lawsuit, EA just decided to discontinue the game. The loss of NCAA football hurt the college's position in pop culture. Obviously, less people would be exposed, less young people would be introduced to the game like I was at a young age. No release parties, no cover athletes, no window into what makes college football so special and different from the NFL. This game ended in 2014, but it's lived on well past its years. Even to this day, NCAA 14, the last one to be produced, is still popularly streamed on Twitch. People have talked about this game for a long time after it's been discontinued. And couple that with the fact that fans have been increasingly frustrated with the development of Madden over the years, there's been a desire for an alternative. Recent news coming out that the game will be produced under the same engine, I believe it's Frostbite, as Madden. Hopefully we see some distinct differences between Madden and NCAA football. So what can we expect from the game when it comes out? So not a whole lot has been revealed about all the details of the game. Sure, it's still very much in development. It would be awesome if they incorporated the newly announced 12-team playoff into the first edition. And obviously I'm really excited to see what kind of detail they're able to put into the game when it comes to home field experience for each team, their stadium, their traditions, the uniforms, the fans. It'll be interesting to see what kind of licensing they're able to get from the actual rosters, the coaches, and things like that. A lot of that has still yet to be figured out with how NIL is going to play into that, group licensing, and how they're going to be able to acquire these image and likeness of these players. I believe the major schools should be fine. It just may take a little bit longer for the smaller schools to get that licensing taken care of. It has been announced that the transfer portal will be a feature into this game. I'm not really sure how that's going to play out. I'm sure in career mode, but that'll be interesting to see how that's incorporated. Most importantly, I'm excited to see who's going to be on the first cover. Some good news on the progress also is that EA just posted a marketing position for Madden and college. So that just kind of shows that they're in the process of getting this thing out to the public and getting a campaign going to generate hype. So that's exciting news. So guys, let me know what you guys think of all these announcements that have been coming out about the new NCAA football game. What are you guys most excited about? What are you most nervous about? And we can talk about it in the comments section. So we'll see you guys in the next video.